Hi everybody, this is the podcast of the book, All Our Hidden Gifts. I hope you are enjoying your week as we have just popped into August. We are at chapter 10. So here we go. We are a mile away from the house when I remember that Mum and Dad are in Portugal, and I had no idea whether Jo, that's her sister, has classes today. I unlock the front door, and Tutu jumps on everyone, that's the dog. Usually, I wouldn't feel the need to apologize about the dog, but now within the rigid formality of having two Gardaí, that's police, in my house, everything feels like proof of my obvious guilt. The jumping dog, the dirty plates in the kitchen, the gnarled brick of the butter still left out on the table from breakfast. Everything around me feels like evidence of what is scrubby little urchin I am. A bad housekeeper and a bad friend. Jo! I shout upstairs, hoping she's home. No response. I smile at Griffin and Ward, that's the accompanying policewoman or man, apologetically. Joanne! I shout again, charging up the stairs. What? She opens her bedroom door, crankily, dressed in jogging trousers, and toweling her wet hair. Oh, thank God, she's home. There's police here. Excuse me? Downstairs. I have to give a statement. Lily is missing. Lily O'Callaghan. Is that who you mean? Joan claps her hand to her mouth, her eyes already moist. For how long? Sunday night. Look, just come downstairs, will you? Joan comes down, and I shakily make introductions. Detective Griffin gives a modified version of what she told the class. She gives Jo more detail, though more relaxed, without the eyes of 20 teenage girls boring into her. The last Lily's parents saw of her was on Sunday night. She went to bed at around 10, but according to her brother, it wasn't unusual for Lily to stay up drawing or reading until 1 or 2 in the morning. The O'Callaghan's say they didn't notice any particular changes in her behavior that weekend, although maybe a little more quiet than usual on reflection. Lily was always quiet, Jo says. She's just like that. That's the impression we are getting. In any case, her mother didn't realize she was missing until around 8 a.m. on Monday morning. Something is going wrong. Oh no, it's all right, fine. Sorry, I'm still learning how to do a podcast and tape at the same time, so that you don't have to see me all the time. When Lily didn't respond to numerous calls, eventually Mrs. O'Callaghan opened the bedroom door, and she was gone. She didn't take anything with her. No clothes, no bag. She didn't even change out of her pyjama. By the looks of things, Jo and I went silent, both of us imagining Lily trudging down her suburban road in pyjamas. I find myself wondering strangely what kind of pyjamas Lily wears now. We are looking for anyone who can give us information about Lily, Griffin concludes, and Maeve volunteered herself. But Maeve, Lily hasn't been round here in ages. You two fell out last year, didn't you? Griffin gives me that look again. That sharp, inquiring look that says, well, that's interesting. Yes, but we spoke again on Friday. I gave her a tarot reading. I didn't want to, and neither did she, but the girls in school sort of made it happen. I'm sorry, tarot reading? Like the cards? Ward asked. Yeah, I replied. I've been giving tarot readings for everyone in our year. I found a deck in school and I learned the card meanings. It wasn't a big deal, or I didn't think it was. Anyway, I gave Lily a reading and she got upset. Then she didn't come back to school. What did you tell her in the reading? Did you say she was going to die or something? No, not at all. I would never. The cards don't predict the future, they show your present. Don't know why I'm delivering my little rehearsal speech on tarot readings to a detective, as if she cares. What did Lily's reading say? It said she was very lonely and heartbroken. Lonely? For a boyfriend? Did she have an ex-boyfriend she wasn't in contact with? No. I shake my head firmly. Lily wasn't like that. The reading was about me. I spluttered again. Joe asked, if I want some water, and I shake my head. I take another run at the sentence. I used to be Lily's best friend, and then we stopped. I stopped being friends with her. Did you have a fight? I bury my face in my hands. No, we didn't have a proper fight. I wish we had. A fight presumes that both parties are equally at fault. The truth of the thing is that I froze Lily out, plain and simple. I started getting friendlier with some girls who were technically higher up the social pecking order, and for a while I thought Lily would climb with me. Me, Michelle, Nia, and Lily would all sit around at lunch. I knew the girls didn't like Lily as much as I did, but I thought that could change once they got to know her. They would see how funny she was, how utterly original, but it didn't work out that way. What are you staring at, Lily? Nia asked one day when she caught Lily staring at them, taking selfies together. You are always looking at us. I was just thinking, how cool would it be if you took all these selfies and they aged and got all disgusting, but you stayed the same. And every time you open your phone, you just saw this gnarled tree stump face, like in the picture of Dorian Gray. But with phones, I laughed at that. I hadn't read the picture of Dorian Gray, but Lillian had, and she had told me the plot. We acted it out. We were still into acting things out, even though we were definitely too old for games like that. You are weird, Nia retorted. At first she said it it warmly, as if giving her the benefit of the doubt, but she kept saying it. The last straw came when we started hanging out with some boys from St. Anthony's at the old tennis courts after school, and Lily licked Keith Delaney. Maeve Nia rang me that night. We need to talk. It's about Lily. About the licking, I countered, knowing already what this was about. She was just doing the game we play sometimes. The licking game was a thing we had invented a few years earlier. It started when Rue, her brother, told us that it was impossible to lick your own elbow, and we spent about 2 days trying it. That spun into a year's long game of trying to lick everything in difficult or risky places. even if it was just putting your tongue on it for a second. We would go into Waterstones, and that's the town, I presume, on the Saturday, and pretend to browse from across the store, keeping one eye on each other, and then slowly put our tongue on whatever book we were pretending to read. Then we would leave the shop, holding each other and screaming with laughter. It's one of those you had to be there things, I suppose. So when Lily, after hours and hours of patiently waiting for something fun to happen at the tennis courts, gently tapped her tongue on the back of Keith's neck, it was her way of saying, "Hey, can we just have fun? Some fun already?" When I lamely tried to explain licking to Nia, she was silent for a time. "Look, Maeve," she said, "we never asked to be friends with her, and we don't want to hang around with her anymore." And that was it. I started snubbing Lily at school, turning my back on her, refusing to meet her eyes when she spoke to me. I told Joanne to tell her I was out when she phoned the house looking when I was out when she phoned the house looking for me eventually. That I don't understand. Okay, well, the house looking for me. Eventually Lily got the hint. The licking of Keith Delaney turned out to be her final act as my best friend. I turned my face back to Griffin. "No, we didn't have a fight. We just grew apart." "Can you put a date on that, Maeve? When you stopped being friends?" Just before Christmas holidays. Last Christmas. So around 14 months ago, I suppose. Ward looks irritated. He is writing everything down. "So, Maeve, are you saying that you have no relevant information about Lily from the last year? Did she have any chat rooms she visited? Any special friends?" Griffin cocks an eyebrow at him. "I'm not sure if chat rooms are quite the thing anymore, Ward. And anyway, this is irrelevant. Tell me more about the tarot reading, Maeve. Is there anything else that happened?" I bit my lip. "Yes, a card came up. One that didn't belong to the rest of the pack. Can you show me that one?" "Do you have any cards now?" I dig them out of my school bag, sitting on the floor next to me. I flip them over so they are face up. "See, all these cards. They each have a place. They belong to the suit or a pattern. But this one card, it came up only for Lily. It was this scary-looking woman called the housekeeper. She was all on her own." "What does the housekeeper mean?" "I don't know. That's why Lily got freaked out. She believes in this stuff, more than most people, more than me. When I told her I didn't know what the card meant, she got scared. I was scared, too, because I thought I had taken the housekeeper out of the deck." "Can you show me the housekeeper now?" "That's the thing," I say, biting my lip. "I don't know where it is. Gone." There's a quaver in my voice, as if I'm afraid the card is going to walk through the door. "So you were frightened, and that made Lily frightened," Griffin says. "Her brother mentioned that she was quite susceptible to that kind of thing." My heart jumped at the word brother. Again, Rue. I have been so upset at the thought of Lily in danger, I had completely forgotten about Rue, and how he must feel about all of this. "Yeah, I was always kind of the leader, I suppose," I say lamely. "Lily always feels what I feel, so this is why you were so jumpy all weekend," Joe says. You were feeling bad about Lily. I nodded. That's what all those girls were chanting. Reason? Which reasons, Griffin? An other nod. There's something else, I say, and I can feel the three adults physically leaning toward me, wanting to catch my words, as though I was spitting tickets like an arcade game. My eyes flickered to Jo, hoping that she will protect me when I tell the final piece of information. The thing that will reveal just what a cruel and terrible friend I really am. Me and Lily had sort of an argument on Friday. She said some mean stuff to me, and then I said some stuff to her. What kind of stuff? She said. She said she didn't know why we were ever friends, and I said I wished we never had been friends. A thick, porridgey lump forms in my throat, and then I said that I wished she would just disappear. Griffin, Ward, and Joanna all look at each other, wide-eyed. And now she has disappeared. I say, my eyes filling up again. Lily's missing and it's all my fault. Jo puts her arm around me. May, she says affectionately, it sounds like you freaked yourself out over some spooky nonsense. It's okay. It's not your fault. Whatever has happened with Lily, it's not as if you were bullying her or preying on her in some weird way. You were every bit as freaked out as she was. I remember a sleepover where they played with an OJ board, a Luigi board. I don't know this word, but I know it as a Luigi board. And Maeve rang Mum to bring her home. At this last bit, she smiles at Griffin and Ward in a sort of girlish, girls will be girls way. Listen to your sister, Maeve. There's no point beating yourself up about this. The way to help Lily is to tell everything you know about your best friend. Anything could be helpful. My best friend, present tense. Who treats their best friend like this? I talk and they write. They ask endless questions about Lily, none of them specific. They sound like they've been taken from the big book of a teenage problems. Did Lily ever have any problems with bullying? Catty behavior among other girls? Excuse me. Griffin asks, was she concerned about body issues, drink or drugs? Drink and drugs? That's easy. No way. Once we decided to drink a bottle of vodka neat while on our trampoline, just to see what would happen. We got about a third into the bottle before Lil vomited down the side and voted never to drink again. Body issues? Maybe. I don't feel likely though. The summer we were 12, Lily shot up 5 inches. She went from being a kind of monkey-faced kid to a somewhat gawky teenager. The tallest girl in our year, but a good inch or two. It never seemed to bother her. She has that vaguely alien look you see on certain Russian fashion models. The ones that aren't necessarily pretty, but seem to be picked for the photograph shoots that require disjointed positions, wearing sack dresses. Bullying? Well, that's a little more complex. The girls at St. Bernadette's couldn't be bitches, sure, and even the kids at primary school were cruel. There were weird prying questions about her hearing aid on good days, and outright insults on bad days. Here's the thing about Lily. Though she genuinely doesn't care what people say, but people say that all the time. But for her, it's true. Whatever anybody was mean, whenever anyone was mean to us for being in the slow learning class, she would just roll her eyes. Don't worry about it, Maeve. It's just noise. Because for her it was. Lily is an expert lip reader, entirely self-taught from birth, so no one caught on about her hearing issues until relatively late. She learned to listen for the right sounds by tuning the wrong sound out, and it had a permanent effect on her personality. If someone's saying something she doesn't want to hear, she simply decides not to hear it. I wish I could be that way. I wish I didn't care what people like Michelle and Nia thought of me. I think that's quite enough, says Joan. After what feels like hours of questioning, Maeve needs to do her homework and eat dinner. You can phone me if you have any other questions or information. The Guardians sneak at a look at my phone on the coffee table. You are to contact me, she repeats protectively. Ward flips his notebook closed. They get up to leave. You've been amazing, Maeve, Ward says, smiling at me. You can see why Nia thought he was handsome. You've certainly ruled out a lot of things. As Joan walks them to the front door, I hear Griffin talking out loud, mostly to her. Frankly, she ruled out so much I'm not sure what's left. And that was chapter 10. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you come back for chapter 11. Take care.